Hello, everyone. So it's really nice to be here and see all the people, really familiar faces. It's been, I think, almost 2 years until we since we were on a room like this. And I'm really happy to be here today. So over the past 2 sessions, we've talked about our collective understanding of certain ideas and how those are shifting. But they're shifting slowly, and it takes time for us to realize it. And I think being on this room here today, we take the time to stop and pause and reflect on those. So I'm going to try to do a game. I'll ask you to pick a word that you think is integral to coffee today, and a word that has shifted in your perception over the last years, I would say. Just think one. If you got it, I think you might be thinking words like sustainability, like naturals. I've picked a different word. I've picked the word experience. And experience is something that we have talked about on specialty coffee for years. We start about talking about the flavors and what we perceive from the coffee. Then we start talking about how we build outlets that we make consumer understand that this is a specialty coffee outlet, that specialty coffee is consumed here. But more recently, that changed. Our online life has become very active. We have TikTok, Instagram, social media, and that changed the world also of experience. We're talking about user experience. We're talking about purchase experience. So I just want you to reflect on this. Because at the end of the day, what is experience? The experience is the reaction between a person and a stimulus. And as I gave you the question of think about a word that was a stimulus, you all thought, not of course of experience, but a different word. So that was your reaction. And everyone has different experience on everything that we do. Because an experience is practically, I would say, that the sum of multiple small experiences that we live. And at the end of the day, we do a sum and we say, oh, those were the positive, or those were the negatives. And I liked that, or I didn't like something. So that is something to think about. So on this session, which is consuming more than coffee, we're going to talk about what is specialty coffee experience and how people perceive that and how this affects our business. On the presentations you're going to see, I want to bring up the National Coffee Data Trends that was released by NCA in cooperation with SCA, because there are some very important, I would say, numbers in there that I would like to draw your attention as you see the following presentations. So on the regional coffee trends that were released as we were coming out of COVID, we see that 77% of the consumers that they had a coffee the last day, they said that a specialty coffee, 77% said that they had a coffee at home, which is really interesting. If we look into their answers more specifically, we see that 75% of those said, okay, I'm enjoying making my coffee at home. And those are for specialty coffee drinkers. 70% said that drinking at home allows me to save money while not giving up an enjoyable experience. And you still see here the word experience. Now there is an interesting one. You see a 50-50 split about how people perceive that experience. Some of they, 41%, say that I've tried making my usual coffee that I buy in a coffee shop at home, and it's better. And the other 50% say, well, I enjoyed the coffee shop more. And I guess that most people in this room, you would expect that the latter would be the true that you enjoy coffee more on a coffee shop. So if we shift the idea and we have more understanding about these numbers, as well as numbers like the big trend on RTDs, as well the numbers of coffee subscription, how does all this come together to create a specialty coffee experience? So that 50-50 split that we saw there, where does it come from? What is the stimuli? Is it like the fact that it's a functional beverage? Is it the fact of the flavors? Is it the total experience? So it's something that we need to understand and dive more into it. So my first speaker will dive more into these numbers. We would like to invite Jim Watson, who is the executive director of Rabobank's beverage sector, and he loves coffee, and he's gonna speak more about those data. Thank you.